So with the preseason officially been in the books and the next big day is roster cut down, there are some veterans that will be getting cut, but this specific veteran is shockingly on his way out. Let's talk about it.
Shout out to Juan Gotti Talking Sports. You know what it is.
Shout out Juan Gotti Talking Sports.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career and he's already milking injuries? Like,
stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, and Shawty is the winner. You can tell that Shawty's no beginner, she's confident.
So yesterday was the conclusion of the Washington Commanders preseason, and it was a tough preseason if we're being completely honest. Finishing 0-3, and the record itself does not matter, right? Of course, right? It's preseason, so you don't want to put too much emphasis on 0-3. The bigger picture is who played, what did they look like, how did this depth look, and a quite honest truth, I should say, it didn't look pretty. Before we get any further into today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. If you're trying to go to a game, concert, or any live event, SeatGeek is the place to go. I actually got my tickets for week 1 against the New York Giants using SeatGeek, and honestly, I use it for all my event purchases. What I love about SeatGeek is how simple it is to find the best deals. They rate every seat on a scale from green to red. Green means you're getting a great deal. Red means it's a little overpriced. That way you know you're buying with confidence and getting your money's worth. Plus, they even offer protection ticket plans so you don't have to worry about your tickets getting lost or stolen. And the best part about it all is they're hooking y'all up with the code. Use Juan Gotti at checkout and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Again, use code Juan Gotti at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. For this depth in a lot of areas, especially quarterback, pass rusher and whatnot, and receiver, of course. But specifically, I wanted to come on and talk about the pass rush room, as there is this veteran by the name of Ferrell, who most likely will be getting cut by the Washington Commanders. And if you would have told me that, I say 3 months ago, I probably would have been looking at you with a little bit of a side eye, because they love, and I mean love, Ferrell and what he brings to this team. Although it isn't much, he's a guy that they lean on for veteran leadership, for a guy that does everything right in practice, can lead a room, can stop the run. He's a guy that they lean on to do that. And when I saw Ferrell still out there yesterday with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I said, oh man, it's over for Clee. That's a telltale sign. I mean, look, I love Jeremy Reeves, but this was All-Pro Revo's typical game where he played in the final preseason game. He wasn't in uniform today. 32 others joined Jeremy Reeves and not been in uniform, and one of them was Jacob Martin. And I remember a lot of people thought Jacob Martin was going to be the person that got cut. A lot of people didn't think Jacob Martin was going to make this roster. They thought he was just a free agent signing that they were bringing in for camp, and he most likely didn't have a guaranteed spot on this roster. But you look at that, Jacob Martin didn't dress. Dorrance Armstrong didn't dress. Right? So they seem to be going in a different direction, and dare I say, Ferrell is the Walmart version of Brian Robinson on the defensive side of the ball. And what do you mean by that, Juan? What I mean by that is Cleveland's going to find work elsewhere. But when you look at, similar to the running back position, who's expendable, who can we afford to lose and not lose sleep over them? For the running back position, it was Brian Robinson who had some value. And for the defensive side of the ball, on the pass rusher, it's like we can lose Ferrell and be all right. Like, we ain't going to lose sleep over Clee. And for me personally, I agree with that. I simply do. I mean, I know Cleveland Ferrell had a specific role on this team last year to set the standard, to be that veteran guy in the room, to show the ropes to everyone else. But after that, it's not much for him to do here. He doesn't do much on the field. He's not Dorrance Armstrong, who, in my opinion, is evolving. Because I remember last year, Dorrance Armstrong, to me, at times, felt like a filler too. Felt like a guy that was just going to get us through the year. But this preseason training camp, Dorrance Armstrong is starting to evolve into a pretty solid pass rusher. Now, you may be like, Juan, he's always been a decent pass rusher. You know? And that may have been the case. But it seems like he's starting to unlock a new level, and they love Dorrance. And of course, it goes back to their connection in Dallas with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. So, of course, that makes sense as well to have that connection. But then you go to Jacob Martin, and it's like, he is the unicorn. He's the question mark. He is the boom or bust for me this season. Because I'm telling you, he has all the athletic needs that you would want in a pass rusher. When you talk about speed, when you talk about quickness, when you talk about length, when you talk about bend, getting around that corner, dipping your shoulder, he has it. And it's something to him. It really is. That's why we went out and signed him. That's why he's always finding work, whether it's Chicago, whether it's now here, whether it's, I believe, Seattle at one point. He's always finding work. It has to be a reason for that. It's because he has talent. It's just, can this defensive staff unlock it? And I allude to the credit of Ryan Kerrigan, Daryl Tapp, everyone on the defensive side of the ball being able to unlock the next level for these defensive players. Because you look at what they were able to do with Dante Fowler last year, and you hope they can replicate that again this season. Now, again, I'm not expecting Jacob Martin to go out there and have a 10-sack season like a Dante Fowler had last year. But if you give me 5, you give me 6.5, that's cool. When you look at this pass rushing room, it may be better than what we expected or think. Because on paper, it's not feared by many at all. I mean, when you get past the name of Von Miller, and some people turn on their nose up at Von Miller now, even because he's 36. But when you get past Von Miller, it's Jacob Martin, it's Dorrance Armstrong, it's Javonte Jean-Baptiste, right? It's not much that gives you they got some demons on that side of the ball, pass rusher. No, that's why they used the Frankie Louvu a lot this season. That's why they experimented with different looks. Because there's not much that fear you as a name. But as I've always been told, just because you ain't the most popular person don't mean you can't cause no damage. And that's why I'm looking at Jacob Martin like, oh, bro, you may be on to something. Because you think about it. Von Miller and Jacob Martin are really the two guys in this pass rushing room that truly provides you with some type of athleticism as a pass rusher, and a legit pass rusher that I might add, right? Like, again, you got Dorrance, you got Javonte Jean-Baptiste, you got Dietrich Wise as a defensive end, and Javon Kinlaw can play defensive end as well. Like, you have those guys, but when you talk about actual threat on third down, go get the quarterback, pin your ears back. When you think about that, there's only 2 names that come to mind. And that's Cleveland Ferrell and Von Miller. Now, I will say again, going back to Dorrance for a second, Dorrance Armstrong is evolving as a pass rusher. And he showed that late last year, especially in the postseason. He showed everything that he was about in terms of getting after the quarterback. So maybe, just maybe, Dorrance Armstrong turns that corner because he's still quite young. You know, he's in that middle range of having a bit of veteran presence, but still being quite young. And when it comes to Cleveland Ferrell, he's only 28. He's only 28, but you talk about the pass rushers that you're keeping, and it's Jalen Holmes potentially could be a guy that they look at to keep on the practice squad over Cleveland Ferrell. You don't keep Cleveland Ferrell on the practice squad. He has a name in this league. So when someone see Cleveland Ferrell is on the open market, they're gonna claim him. They're gonna get him because they're gonna feel like they're the team that can get a lot out of Cleveland for at least 1 year. He's a former first-round pick and former top 5 pick. Mike Mayock drafted him for the Raiders, right out of Clemson. So he's a former top 5 pick, and he's going to be on his way out of Washington. I mean, it is what it is. It's the nature of the business. You don't need a lot of Cleveland Ferrells. You know what I mean? You can easily replace a Cleveland Ferrell, right? I mean, even Andre Jones Jr. probably can do what he did. So if there's a guy that's expendable, it's him. Because you take a look at the pass rushers that you're keeping, you're only keeping 4, if we're being completely honest. It's Von Miller, it's Dorrance Armstrong, it's Jacob Martin, and it's going to be Javonte Jean-Baptiste. Clearly, right? Maybe you keep 5 because you're not going to keep 6 receivers more likely than not. I don't think you're going to keep, 3 quarterbacks. So maybe that opens up room elsewhere. But of course, you got to take care of the main positions that need a lot of depth, and that's both sides of the line of scrimmage, right? Offense, defensive line. So maybe that opens up an opportunity for them to keep an extra pass rusher potentially, but I don't think they need to. I think the 4 that they're keeping is quite fine, and you still have opportunities to have different packages and formations where you can have Frankie Louvu rushing the passer, you can have Jordan McGee rushing the passer, you can put Javon Kinlaw as an end, you can put Dietrich Wise in. There's so many different things that you can do with this pass rush this year. That's why I feel like Cleveland is an expendable piece, and he just doesn't provide you with much, and that's why he was playing late yesterday. When you know your time is up, it's 2 signs. When you're not getting no burn at all, or when you're still in the game in the late stages of the second half. That's how you know your time is up. And shockingly, it's crazy. Because, again, this is a guy that they like. This is a guy that I'm sure they would love to keep around. But, again, business is business, and you have to learn that the hard way. But no shot to Clee. Clee will find work elsewhere with the ease. Again, he has a built-up, credible name, and he'll find somewhere to land once he's released. But more likely than not, at this point, Cleveland Ferrell is gone. But what says you down below in the comment section? Leave your comments and thoughts about the pass rush room, about Cleveland Ferrell playing in the late stages of the second half. What does that tell you about where he stands with this roster? As always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel on the road to 11,000 subscribers. So really appreciate if you can reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. You have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Peace.
Never gave a fuck, ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a line.